Welcome to the Yogalebrity Podcast. My name is Angelica Govaert. I'm known as Yogalebrity on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, in the world. It started as a joke with me and my teacher many years ago. She was the manifesting mofo and I was the Yogalebrity, and then it just stuck. But my name is actually Angelica Govaert, and I host a weekly podcast. Sometimes we put more episodes out, sometimes less, but we really try to do every week. Um, and we help yoga teachers build their online yoga businesses. And we offer something called the Empowered Yoga Teachers Collective, where we bring people in and build their sales funnels with them, build their email automations, build their course with them, help them learn how to market and sell themselves. It's 90% promotion, 10% your course. Doesn't matter. If you have the best course ever, you have the best online offer ever. If nobody wants to buy it, it really doesn't matter, because you will not make any money and no one will be served. So we help people do that. Now, we help people do that, through a formal process, but also through these podcasts and through the YouTube and through our Facebook group. So we'll leave the link below to all of our different socials. If you want to join the Facebook group, Francesca does go live in there every week. That's totally free. You don't have to pay for that. So we have lots of options for lots of people. If you want to work with us, it does obviously have a cost. We don't work for free. We don't encourage you to work for free. I don't think that's a good idea. So you do enough by making free content. So anyhow, if you want to do that, you can go to the link below and apply to work with us, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Okay, so today's podcast, we're going to talk about what to do when your spouse does not support you in your dream to go online. And to be totally honest, this is actually something that I went through myself. My partner did not support me, and he literally did everything he could to self-sabotage me. Well, not self-sabotage, to sabotage me. It wasn't a self. It was, I'm going to guess it's a self, whatever. He was like very sabotagey and would be like, hey, do you want to go out to eat? You want to do this? Like whenever I would sit down and try to build my online business. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart. And so I want to talk to you all, and we all want to talk to you about like what, why is it, that your spouse might not support you in wanting to build an online business? And, frankly, that really just applies for everybody in your life, because I don't know about you, I didn't have anybody around me that was working online. I was the only one. And, it's really common. It's common for your spouse not to feel like, um, to feel trepidatious, to feel a little bit worried, to think that this isn't a legitimate thing, that making money isn't online legit. But, like I always think back to like yoga with Adrian. Like if I had just gone online back in 2012 when I first opened my studio and I really wanted to, but was like, so I don't know how to use the phone, and how do I make the video, and I don't have a microphone. Like, girl, just post, like just Adrian did it. And now she's rich. And that could have been me, and it could have been you, right? So how do we overcome these things that the spouses have, the fear, the lack of understanding, that financial uncertainty, and the identity shifts that you need to make in order to move forward and build your online business? Because most partners, they're not against you, right? Some of them are, like, legitimately, and we'll talk about that. But most of the time they're just reacting to having uncertainty about um what's going on. So I know Francesca does a lot of calls with people, and Francesca, why don't you start us out with like why you think that a lot of spouses are like, I'm not on board with this.
Okay, just making sure my mute was off. Um, got a new microphone, so I'm playing with it. So, yeah, actually, I had this, I think it was last week, and I think it can be a number of things, but I think with this particular call, it might have been a traditional role around money and decision making because she was or is a stay-at-home mom and really hasn't worked for a very long time. Her job was being a mom, but her boys are teenagers now, and she was really looking for something to something that she can dive into that is more of her heart, but she can also, support with financially in her relationship and in her life. And I feel like because the role was traditional to start, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that that was part of what was resistant around making this decision because number 1, she probably I'm assuming wanted the partner to be there, but unfortunately her partner worked more of a blue collar job, so was like overnight and not around. He's just not around as often. So having him around to like make that decision with her wasn't an option when we were on the call. And then number 2, I think that because of the traditional role, it was almost like asking for permission. And ultimately, it was something that she had to go to him for, which rightfully so. She doesn't have an income of her own. But that I feel like I've run into a couple of times. And
I mean,
it's unfortunate.
I just wanna interject though about the rightfully so thing. She doesn't have an income of her own. She does have an income of her own. Raising your children is a
Oh, that's a
job.
job in and of itself. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah,
I agree with
and
you.
I think that
100%.
women should have more autonomy over the
Mhm.
decisions of the finances that have like, they should have an equal say in that. That's not
Mhm.
right that someone would be making all the money and, like, I actually just said that to somebody one time. She was like, "Well, my husband said no." And I was like, "Well, that's not how." She goes, "You know how it is." My husband said no. I go, "No, I don't know how it is." That
Mhm.
would never fly for me.
No.
Like that I would never no, absolutely not. I don't know how it is. I make my own decisions. There's no man that's gonna stop me. I don't think that it's really healthy for your man to make decisions like that for you. Like, I think that's
Mhm.
called enmeshment from a psychological standpoint. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody. I don't mean to offend you. This is just my opinion about it. But um, my mom used to always, my mom was someone who a man controlled all the money. She was stay at home.
Mm.
And she never got to live any of her dreams. And she would always say to me, no matter what you do, always have your own funds, always have your own money, always have your own way, always make your own decisions. Don't let the man make the decision for you. So I actually think that's not really fair. Like she's dedicated her
Mhm.
entire life to raising the children that they created together. And he can't even give her the opportunity to build a business online and do something that she loves, helping more people and reaching more people that gives her purpose because, he has a career. He goes every day. I don't think personally, I'm just not a rightfully so. I don't think rightfully so. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, I didn't necessarily mean rightfully so that she didn't have or that like being a mom was her job, but she's not making income from being a mom. That's what I meant. That she didn't have her own income from being a mom. He is bringing in all of the money. So I understand her perspective, but to your point, that just limits her. She spent her whole life dedicated to raising these boys. The boys are now teenagers. And I think it was right for her to want to step into something of her own. And unfortunately, that wasn't the result because she didn't have a say over the money, at least in this decision.
I feel like unfortunately, or at least what I've seen in a lot of those types of relationship dynamics, um, that people I don't know, fall into, I guess. There's not a lot of conversation about what the future is gonna look like if that
Mm,
happens, you know? You fall into being a stay-at-home mom, one, spouse ends up or maybe whoever it is, one spouse ends up taking on more of a role, and then nobody ever has that conversation. So I feel like in a way you kind of let the other person develop this feeling of
mhm.
having that control because you never have sat down to have the conversation about, like, what this dynamic looks like and how you
Mhm.
both are involved.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really true. When I got together with Paul, we sat down and we talked about like, do you want to have children?
Mhm.
What kind of career do you want to have? What kind of life do you want to live?
So
And
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really important. I don't think a lot of people do that. A lot of
No.
people just step into relationships.
My
you
sister's a
know?
full-time stay-at-home mom, and that was a conversation that was had. They had a
Mhm.
conversation about it. I know her husband was raised that way, one of 8, like his mom homeschooled and everything. And they had that conversation about, like, this is how we want to raise our children. And my sister was going to be the one who stayed home. He works full-time, but like that conversation happened before children happened. Really, even before
Yeah.
marriage happened, like all of that was like lined up. And I think that plays a massive, massive role into why their relationship dynamic works so well now, because they have
Mhm.
that communication and understanding, and it was from such an early start.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else too, like, because sometimes it's not just that, like, they have these traditional roles, but also, like, sometimes, some partners have more of like, I'm very like, I'll do whatever with money. I'm always like, "I'll rise again like a phoenix, whatever. It takes money to make money." Like today, Tiana and I were on a call with a guy that does, like, all of our statistics for, like, the ads and stuff that I run, and, he was like, "Oh, this ad's doing well," and I was like, "Great, it's converting," and I doubled the ad spend, and he was like, "Oh my god, don't do that," and I was
The
like, "What
look
do
on
you
his
mean?"
face, he was
I
like,
was like I was like, "What do you mean? It's making money. I wanted to make more money, right?" And,
Oh
so I
my
just, like,
gosh.
I don't even think about that stuff. But Paul would be like, he's very like he's very risk averse. Like he doesn't want to take any risk. And honestly, I think it comes from having been a professional poker player for a while and like just, lighting money on fire just to see. So coming from Vegas, it taught me so much. Like I'm so grateful that I did that actually, because it taught me a lot about taking calculated risks and when to spot a risk and when to spot the biggest thing that poker taught me was mathematical risk and like when to know that you're actually taking more of a risk by not going all in than taking than 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 taking a risk by folding. Like let's say, you have they call it outs. I don't we're talking about poker now. It's hilarious. So there's like in Texas Hold'em, there's the flop, the turn, and the river, right? And each chance there's a round of betting and new cards
Mm.
come out. And on each one of those, your percentage chance of winning changes dependent on the cards that are out. And so you calculate that. It's like the rule of force and the rule of twos, and you like calculate like how much you multiply like how many of a certain type of card is left in the deck and how much that your percentage chance of winning is. And a lot of times like then you calculate it to how much money is in the pot, how much money the people have behind them that they could pull into the pot, how much you have, and how much you could pull in to put into the pot. So, like, I actually won my yoga studio playing pot odds. So, when I first opened the yoga studio, I did not have any money. I'd just gone through a bankruptcy. And I was like, okay, I I want to open this yoga studio. I found this space, but it was $400 a month. It was a converted garage. And I really wanted this space and I wanted to open my yoga studio, but I didn't have any money. So I'm like, all right, how am I going to do this? But I'm just going to go for it because I really want to do this, but I don't have any money on, but I'll figure it out, right? What's the worst that's going to happen? So I, I happened to go down to the Wynn and play poker because I had been playing poker because some people that I taught yoga to had played poker. They taught me how to play poker and that's how I learned. And so I'm down there and playing poker. I'm playing like low stakes and I get involved in this hand and the flop comes out and I have a straight. I have I have a gut shot straight. Like I have the straight like in the middle, right? So there's like cards. It's a well masked straight. Like no, it's not like I have the two cards on the end of either side. I have them in the middle, so people probably don't know that I have it. So I had been the initial pre-flop raiser before the flop came out. I had put the money in first. And so when that happened again, I was like, all right, cool. So it comes to me and I put more money in. I bet, right? Because I have the winning hand. Like there's no other combination of hands possible mathematically that could win. I knew I had the winning hand. So I put money in. And then the person next to me, he he called, and then the next person raised, and then the next person re-raised. I was like, re-raise? This is crazy. What's going on? And then every single person at a 9-person table called the all-in that the next guy did. And I was like, and it came back to me. Now, I had been playing like really frugally. I had $600 in front of me. I was like, oh my God, if I go all in, I'm going to lose all of this $600 that I've worked all night to make. That's my rent for the month. That's my bills. That's my food. That's everything. But I'm looking at this flop and I literally have the best possible combination of cards. Now there's still 2 cards to come out, so I could still lose. But if I fold, it's a higher risk of loss than if I go all in mathematically. And that's the thing that I think people like really don't get, is that there's a point where like maybe it costs money to go online. You know, it does cost money to go online, but it, you know, like maybe it costs you money. It costs more than you maybe feel comfortable with. But the reality is what is the cost of not doing it? You know, what is the cost of not doing it? And so I ended up, I was like, well, shit, I can't call myself a poker player if I don't call this hand, because mathematically, like nobody else can beat me. Yes, there are 2 more cards that come out, but their chance is like 24%. They have a 24% chance of winning. My percentage chance is 76%. I have a 76% chance of ending up taking everybody's fucking money at this table tonight. Right. And so I'm like, but it's going to cost me what I have. It's going to cost me that 600. But as we all know, because we're sitting here today, I made that call.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You're like, you did. It's given me multiple jobs now. Thank you for making that call.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Amen.
I put more money in there. I won a $5,000 pot. I opened my first yoga studio, which then led to me opening a second yoga studio and a third yoga studio, which led to me making about $250,000 a year running studios, which led to me then going online, making $24,000 my first year, $79,000 my third year, $151,000 my or 179 my second year, 151 my third year, and then now making over $1 million online. Like all that came from a risk of $600 that then turned into 5,000, that then turned into 250, that then turned into $1 million. I made over $1 million at my studio. I've made over $1 million online. All that came from a $600 risk. Right. So like there's some people who have this fear of financial risk. I ain't one of them. But if you have that, and I know it can be scary, the problem is that you're actually scaring yourself out of long-term abundance. Like, can you see how that is, you know?
Yeah. There really is a tipping point, like at both ends of the scales there.
Yeah.
And comfort can be a risk. Like
Mhm.
comfort can definitely be a risk.
And I think that could be part of it because, you know, if somebody goes to their spouse, that could be, you know, an objection, so to speak, is like the fear of the financial risk around it. But I think the moral of the story is that if it's something that you feel called to do or aligned, or you see the odds in front of you, you might as well go all in because it could very well change your life.
Right.
Yeah. And what's the difference between 10 or 20 or $30,000? You know, I just signed up for a mastermind that was $50,000. Right. And really, because I wanted to be around Russell Brunson, right? Like I wanted to be in his presence, which was like awesome. But like at the end of the day, I was like, you know, that's a lot of money, right? And I might not make that back, you know, and I might, whatever, you know, but it doesn't really matter because it's just money. Like we put way too much emphasis on money and like how we got to hoard it or whatever. That's not how money works. Like money flows, you know, and also you can't take it with you. My neighbor across the street just died from the flu. He died from the flu.
Oh my
He got the
gosh.
flu, and then it wasn't the flu that killed him, it was he had a unknown heart condition that so he couldn't overcome the pneumonia and everything from the flu. But, like, he was just the other day, just like the nicest guy on my street. Just every time you'd walk down there, he'd just talk to you, whatever. He wasn't even that old. He was like 61, you know?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
Wow.
you can't take it with you. The experiences are what matter, right? So,
Mhm.
um, like, what's the difference at the end of the day? Even if you did fail, what would have been the
Mhm.
difference? Like, thinking back now, let's say I put that $600 in and I lost that pot, you know? What would really $600 be now? That seemed like a lot of money then. But
I think what
today,
the
Yeah.
Yeah, I
go
think the
ahead, sorry.
difference, taking your situation as an example, would be if you were to put all in that pot and you would have lost it. Just knowing you now, but just the type of person that you are, and the dreams that were on your heart, which I'm sure a lot of you have similar dreams in your heart with wanting to go online or just create some type of ripple effect in your world, right? With what you know and
Mhm.
your level of expertise, you would have found the next time you had another $600 or another $5,000 that you came into abundance with. I guarantee that that probably would have been your next decision, right? So it's not, it doesn't, I guess my point in that is that the opportunities are always going to come around, but unless you take like the thing that you feel called to the most in that moment, you don't know when that next opportunity is going to come around again. And is that going to be, again, another question for you? Do I need to check this with my spouse? Is this the right time? Then you kind of go through the cycle all over again. So why not just make that decision when you feel called to do it?
Right,
Right?
right. You have to
Yeah.
take the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
let's talk a little bit about some differences between support and permission, right? Because that's really
Mhm.
powerful, right? Like, do
Yeah.
you need to get your spouse's permission, or is it just getting their support? And I know, like, I don't know if you're comfortable talking about it or not, Tiana. I know that your spouse, not really spouse yet, partner, whatever you want to call them, your person, that he makes a lot more money than you do.
Mhm.
Um, you know, how do you two negotiate that? And like, what if you really wanted to do something, how would you talk to him about it? Can I put you on the spot like that? Is
Ooh.
that weird?
No, it's not. You can, but I don't know if you're expecting or not expecting the answer I'm about to give to that. I feel like Fran knows. um, I mean, obviously every person's different, but for me particularly, I'm very similar to you, Angelica. I don't play I don't play that game. I don't play the no. I don't permission. I hate that word. I hate that word. I'm never asking permission for anything in my relationship personally, and if I've never been in a relationship where I need to have permission, because at that point it's not a partnership, it's a dependency, and I don't want to be necessarily in a full
That is so
dependency.
gold.
Right? And
Yes.
even if
Yes.
somebody makes more money in the relationship or anything, you don't have to be dependent. You don't have to be in dependency. It comes down to communication, right? And establishing what those roles are and making sure that both parties are comfortable with that. So for me personally, I have a lot of support. I am very blessed and grateful to have a very supportive partner, but I've also made sure to not allow anyone to stay in my life that isn't going to be supportive. I don't like the no, no, you can't. That's not an option. It's, I'm sorry, what'd you say? You meant anything for you, my love? That sounds better. But I know, not a lot of people can be in that same situation, but I think it comes down to communication. Again, like I said, do you want to be in a partnership or a dependency? Like, you need to have that realization and communication within your partnership with
And I
everything
think
that you're
with you
doing.
guys, just because I know your relationship, I think with you guys, it's like you guys respect your partnership in that way, but you also respect your individual investments,
Mhm.
like what it is that you're choosing to invest in. And like you might have a conversation about it, but it's never going to result in you're not allowed to do that, or I don't agree
Never.
with where you're going. It's always like, okay, so how is this going to benefit you? Is this something that you really want? How can
Right.
we make this work with the other goals that we have in our mind? Because I know you have really big goals with you two as you're
Right.
moving forward, especially in this year. So, um, I would agree with you. I'm not in a partnership right now, but that's definitely part of what I know
Yeah.
I'm looking for in my partner.
I think it's really important too to like kind of emphasize that your partner doesn't necessarily have to have like the fullest, deepest understanding of what you want to do and be successful in for one, for what you want to do to be valid, and for two, for them to support you in that. That's just point blank.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about like how having zero financial visibility, how that can be disempowering, and the difference between, you know, somebody who's supportive and unintentionally blocking your growth, you know? And where can you find those discretionary funds? Like how can you do something, and really live your dream, you know? And so
yeah.
for me, like, I don't know, it's so out of the realm of my understanding. It's really hard for me when someone says something like, my husband doesn't support this, and we make all our decisions together. I'm sure you understand. And I'm like, no, no, I
No.
don't understand. And somebody like got really offended that I was like, well, that wouldn't be me. That wouldn't be me. Or like the people be on calls like, well, I'm sure you understand how my husband's. I'm like, no, I bought a house and I was like, we're moving. I bought a boat and was like, we're gonna live on a sailboat now. I sold my studio and was like, I'm selling this studio. And Paul was like, no. And I'm like, well, whatever, you benefit from it. But, the thing is, like, I want to do something different. I just have always been a woman in charge of my own thing. So it is really hard for me to empathize
Mhm.
and understand. But the hardest thing for me to watch is women who are truly gifted and have something to share with the world, and they're givers, because they are women who don't have the role of breadwinner. Like they are givers by nature, and they'd be really great at helping people online, but they can't because their partner doesn't support it. It's really hard to watch.
Mhm. Honestly, just riffing really quick off of what you had just said, like, yeah, you bought the house and you said we're moving, but at the end of the day, he still had a choice. He still chose to continue on with you. Like, you always have a choice.
Well, also, it's like part of that is conversation, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm sure to a degree it was, we're getting a boat and we're gonna live on a boat, and that's what we're doing, right? To a degree, but like
Mhm.
there was conversation, right? Okay, so this is when we're gonna do it. This is where we're gonna acquire the boat. This is how long we're gonna do it. This is what we're gonna do financially while we live on the boat.
Mhm.
And it's a mutual conversation that is had where both parties are understanding of what's going on, but it's not like what's the word, it's not like taking control or taking like that piece away from the other person. It's being like, okay, if this is what you want to do, I support you, let's do this together, how can we make this happen? I think that's the difference in the kind of
Mhm.
conversation.
Yeah, when we I'm texting Francesca. When we that just totally came up on screen.
It's like,
I don't know how I'm like so smooth. Whatever.
I
Every
can't,
time you
I didn't
press
even
that
see
button
that.
on your microphone, it goes click, 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 click. Just press the
Oh,
space bar. Just hit the space bar. Like mic yourself and hit the space bar. Oh my God.
or-
Anyhow, now
done is
hold
more
on to this.
profitable than perfect.
Done is more profitable than perfect. Hit the space bar now. Put it on mute and then hit the space bar and then talk. Keep holding the space bar down while you're talking.
okay, I see. I didn't even know that
Yeah.
was an option.
Yeah. And then we don't have to hear click, 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 click. Anyhow, um, you can edit that later or we can just leave it in there. It's fine. Whatever. Everybody, that's how it works. That's how you do
Woo!
it. Um,
This is
when we
real.
moved into
Live,
this
live, live.
house, live, love, life, it's fine. Just this should inspire you to just do whatever you want. When we moved into this house, he was like, I don't know, because Paul don't like change. Paul does not like change. I love change. I'm like, let it change. Let's change it. You know what? Let's try something different. Because to
You
me,
do
I'm
love
always like,
change.
what could be on the other side that's better than what we're doing right now? How
Mhm.
could we make this better? We did this so good. We helped 200 people this year. How could we help 500 next year? What if we did 1,000 though? Like that's
That's the dreamer in you.
right, right. I'm always like, what else could I do? Right? Because you never know. Like, I feel like it's like leveling up like your God quotient, like God gave you this gift. Like, how do you use it to the maximum level? So anyhow, when I bought this house, I had owned a house in Miami that I ended up losing it during my bankruptcy. Thank God. So glad that's gone. Bye. But when we bought this house, I told Paul, I was like, I need this to be a good experience for me. I need this to be a positive experience, and I need the whole thing to happen smoothly, and I need to enjoy it because this is in my financial range. I can afford it. Um, I need to have a house to support myself when I'm old. I need to have a place to live, you know? And I don't have those things right now. So I need to build that for myself. So if you don't want to be part of it, that's okay, but don't complain along the way either. Because he doesn't own the house and he wasn't willing to own a house and he wasn't willing to create that kind of stability for me. And I wanted that kind of stability. So there was that conversation ahead of time, and, like sometimes I think it just comes time to like, you got to put it on the line and be like, do you want to do this? There's a book by Steve Harvey. It's called Act Like a, a Woman, Think Like a Man.
Oh, I've heard
Fantastic
of
book.
that.
It's a
That's who wrote
fantastic
it?
book. Yes, it's a
I didn't know.
fantastic book. I read the book. Francesca, you should read this book. This is how you get a man, okay? Because I wanted to get a man so bad. This is how I got one. Steve Harvey knows what he's talking about. He said in there, you have to sometimes, people are like dying right now out there in the internet world. You have to sometimes, like, you have to make them a little bit scared that you're going to leave, or they'll walk all over you and they won't want you. They have to always be a little bit afraid that you're going to leave. And in the dynamic of a relationship, just from a psychological level, there's always one person who's more invested than the other person. There's always one person who would be better off or could be okay, not better off, could be okay without the other person, whatever, right? In in my relationship, that I'm the one that would be like, all right, well, that sucks that you're gone, but I got this house and this boat and this car and I like and I got this job and I got a career and I'm gonna figure it out, Um, I think that it would be, Paul would have a harder time without me than I would have with him. Not that we don't get along, not that we don't enjoy each other, we do, but there's always like there's somebody who is more into the person than the other person,
Mhm.
And so Steve Harvey says to be the one that they're more into. Um to just power dynamic. I know that is completely off topic, but kind of not though. Kind of not though. Like you got
Kind
to
of not.
always keep them like sometimes
No,
I feel
it's
like
relevant.
you got to just put your foot down and be like, this is what I'm
Yeah.
doing. You know, this is what I'm doing. This is going to cost me, $15,000 or $10,000 or whatever. I want to do this. It is what it is, you know?
Well, I think that's part of the conversation that I hope that whoever's listening can find empowerment in, is that it's not so much of like, I don't want you to tell me what I can and can't do, right? It's just more of like, listen, this is something that's been on my heart. I've been a stay-at-home mom raising these kids for so long. I'm bored. I want to do something that like I love. And even if it,
Mhm.
is slow to start, like anything is, like any business that you ever will create in your life or anything you will create in your life, especially if it's new, it's going to be slow to start. But it's mine. And considering that, they have the job that they do and they bring the finances that they do, if that's the dynamic, then, I think every woman should at least have that opportunity of a conversation with their partner.
Mhm. Especially if it's something that they're wanting to do, you know?
And let's say like you never make any money off of it. You start a business, it doesn't do well, you never make any money. W- What's the mental load of not trying? What happens if you never try the thing that you really wanted to do? That's actually the question I asked myself when I moved from the small yoga studio to the bigger studio. I was like, if I don't do this and I go to my deathbed, will I wish that I had? And the answer was like overwhelmingly like, yes, I would wish that I had at least tried this. And that's why I put it all on the line and opened the big studio. And that's where I met you, right, Tianna? That's where you came
Yep,
into my life.
that
It's where a
is.
number of people did. And, that's where I became my first million was in that studio. So, thank God. Thank God that I took that risk, that was
Yeah,
put in front of me. And that's another thing. I think like spirit, God, divine universe of your own understanding puts things in front of you. You got to be smart enough to take them. You have
yeah.
to be smart enough to take them. You have to be strong enough. And there may be sometimes are going to be blocks that are resistance that you have to push through because the universe is like, how much do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
Not that this is wrong or you shouldn't have it, but how much do you want it? The universe doesn't respond to good and bad. It responds to energy. It
Right.
responds to energy. So, what energy are you putting out there? Are you stepping into the energy of power? Or are you stepping into an energy of not feeling like you worried about, well, what's going to be my ROI? What did other people do? How did other people, can you have examples of this? Do you guarantee? There are no guarantees. There are no guarantees. That's just how life works. There aren't any guarantees, right? You're going to have to try. You probably will fail along the way. I was watching, we started watching Landman.
I love that show. Oh my
and
gosh.
Billy Bob Thornton was like, well, what kind of person you want to be? And his daughter said, I want to be a dreamer. And he said, then you have to know you're going to fail. You're going to be a failure first. What are you going to do when you fail? And I was like, dang, I'm gonna start saying that to everybody
That's
because
powerful.
that's the reality. You're going to be a failure
Yeah,
first. The people who are successful are just people who failed more and just kept going.
I
absolutely.
agree. Fail forward, be a student of life.
Okay, let's see if we have anything else on our list. Okay, let's say we also have had people in our course that were signed up and were going through a domestic violence situation.
Mm,
Where the man was trying to be controlling and this was their way out. This was their way to make income for themselves and to get out there. So that's not happening. That's definitely happening as well. And I think, my first job out of college was at a battered women's shelter. So, I think it depends on who you choose to help you through the journey of building your business. But we're definitely people who you can share that kind of information with, and we would be helpful. Um, and then I think, just some like closing things to talk about, which are like your dreams deserve to be taken seriously. You can honor your relationship and your calling. Growth as a person, as a yoga teacher, as a business entrepreneur, it requires courage and it requires having crucial conversations with people. Um, and making the right decisions, that doesn't come from fear, it comes from being clear, and when we're making decisions in fear, it actually is gonna do the opposite. We're not gonna do as well, we're not gonna be as happy, we're not gonna get the results that we want. So we have to, like, think, are you making a decision based in fear, or are you making a decision based on what's actually really right for you and your spouse?
yeah. And lead with action. Nothing earns support faster than embodied proof, right? Nothing's going to earn that support faster to your partner than proving to them and showing them that you're committed, that you're serious, and how important that is to you.
100% agree. 100% agree. So listen,
Yep.
if you're ready to ditch your dirty man and build, no, I didn't.
Dirty man.
Yeah, crusty. No, I'm just kidding.
That crusty, dusty
Take him to the cleaners. No. Anyhow, sometimes men are super supportive. We'll have men that actually come to the call with their wife and they come to
I
all
love that.
their support calls. They come and they help build out their business. And some of them are like that. I've had guys that did the website portion. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I would
All of
want
them
that
should be like
myself.
that if you're listening.
I don't I don't really
right?
want that. Honestly, I want to do my own thing. I don't really want a man. We can have separate things. This is my thing.
It's nice.
Everybody's different, whatever. Yeah, if you're looking to build an online business, you think that we're the kind of people that could resonate with what you want to create, please do go to the link below and sign up to get a call with one of us and talk to us about, what it is you want to create. If we'll let you know if we think that's viable, if it's a good idea, and how we do what we do. And if that resonates with you, we'll sign you up right there and get you started. If you just want to dick around and see what happens, don't call me. Don't sign up with me. I don't want that. I want people who are interested in making a change in this world and know what it is they want out of life, and they want to make their life a better place. They want to make this a better place for other people. I like to work with people who are serious about what they want to do, who are excited. Tianna and I were just talking about this. We had our one-on-one meeting today, and we were just talking about how, there's two different kinds of people who bitch and moan and complain about how hard it is to be online and how they don't want to show their face and they don't want to do this. They don't want to create content. Like, somebody actually asked me today, do I have to post on the internet if I want to
To
sell
go
my course? I was
online?
like, yeah,
Yes.
girl, that's what going online means. Um, but then the other people that bitch and moan, like, this is hard. I couldn't figure out where to put this in the landing page. I had to rewrite this email 3 times because it didn't save. Right. All day long, bitch to me about that stuff. Oh, I filmed this 11 times and there was no sound. And then we had to film 11 more videos. That actually happened to us.
Yes, it did.
It was so brutal. Complain about that. Complain about getting there, and how the difficulty of getting where it is that you want to go, because it is going to be, there are going to be some roadblocks like that. You're going to have to get through those. You're going to have to push through them. It's not like puppies and rainbows. It's not ohms and hugs and ohms. It's, it's it is some work. You're going to have to do some work to get what you want. That nothing worth having comes easy. That's just not how life works. We all know that, but on the other side of your growth is the magic. It's the thing that you want. And you only get one life. Why wouldn't you want to live it to the biggest ability that you could,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, all the things, subscribe, give us 5 stars, make a comment below, share this with your friend, join our Facebook group, listen to our podcasts. And if you want us to help you, the links are below. If you don't want us to help you and you just want to listen to the podcast and make a comment every once in a while, that's cool too. That's cool too. You're energetically helping as well, and we're grateful for you. So thank you for making it this far into the podcast, listening it to all the way. That's really amazing. It's 3% of you that do that. You are my fans, and I love you, and I am your
Raving
fan.
fans. Yes.
Raving fans, we love you. Just know we appreciate you. And both Tianna and I have a headache today, but we're doing this for you, the 3% at the end of the video.
We really are.
Anyhow, thank you so
Grateful.
much. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for you. Have a great evening, and we'll see you in the next podcast.